Have you ever thought about where your produce comes from? Most grocery chains receive produce from various local and national farmers. In fact, there are about 3.4 million farmers in the United States today. But of that staggering number, only 45,000 are Black farmers. At the Better Buggy, we are a proud group of Atlanta-based Black-owned farmers, selling produce locally and nationwide. Our easy-to-navigate online platform makes it easy for you to make a one-time purchase or to simplify your life by subscribing to our weekly produce box. Whichever frequency you choose, you can order with confidence, knowing you'll receive 100% organic, farm-fresh produce. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a loved one that they'd actually find useful, be sure to pop by our online store where you can snag a gift card your recipient can use to order their own produce and t-shirts. Ready to start supporting local Black-owned farms and making healthier food decisions? Visit thebetterbuggy.com now to start shopping.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all charges against George Floyd. But there's another case that comes from 2017 where he literally choked out a 14-year-old teenager as his mother is begging on the video for him to stop. You know, the police department, they are for the most part full of shit. And they knew about Derek Chauvin, and they let this man go on for 19 years. He had all kinds of complaints that they literally threw away. And this 14-year-old, could have lost his life. And he has a long history on the police force of choking out people. There were multiple victims, but they would not allow those testimonies to come in during the trial. So this is Fox News. Ladies and gentlemen, DOJ mulling charges against Derek Chauvin for 2017 arrests involving 14-year-old boy report. So this was April 24th, 2021. The U.S. Justice Department is mulling whether to charge now convicted former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin in connection with a 2017 incident in which he allegedly violently handled a 14-year-old boy and used his knee to hold the teenager down for almost 17 minutes, according to a report. ABC News cited a source in reporting the Minnesota prosecutors had tried in the months leading up to Chauvin's trial to include video evidence from at least one of his prior arrests, but the judge ultimately denied the request. So they can still do it as a separate trial. So we'll see what the DOJ come up with because, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I can honestly tell you, the DOJ is useless. They're useless. The Justice Department is now exploring whether file charges against the ex-cop for actions portrayed in the video. The state prosecutor, this is Matthew Frank, he argued in court papers for the video to be used in Chauvin's trial, said the body camera footage in question shows Chauvin use unreasonable force towards the child and complete disdain for his well-being. The video allegedly shows Chauvin aggressively handling the teen while the now ex-cop was responding to a domestic violence call with another cop in September 2017, according to the report. The teenager was reportedly one of the two people accused of assaulting his mother. ABC News reported the footage allegedly depicts Chauvin striking the 14-year-old in the head. Now, they said he struck him so hard blood was coming out of both ears. After he wouldn't comply with officers, Chauvin allegedly struck the teen with a flashlight twice and held the boy's throat, according to the report. He then applied a neck restraint, causing the child to lose consciousness and go to the ground, Frank wrote in court papers. Chauvin and then other officer placed the teen in a prone position and handcuffed him behind his back while the teen's mother pleaded with them not to kill her son and told her son, "Stop resisting," Frank wrote, according to the report. Now, again, if you notice, when he does these choke restraints in the case of George Floyd and with this 14-year-old, there was another officer there, just like there were other officers that could have stopped him. And you notice in both cases, they did not stop Chauvin at all. Okay, so the mother spoke to her son, told him not. I don't know how he can resist if he's on the ground handcuffed and he lost consciousness. Wow. How about get off of my son? Leave my son alone. Stop resisting. Never mind. About a minute later, going to the ground, the child began repeatedly telling cops that he could not breathe. And his mother told Chauvin to take his knee off of her son. I wish she would not have said out loud, "Stop resisting." I just wish as a mother she would not have done that, but she did. He allegedly adjusted his knee after 8 minutes and placed it on the boy's upper back for another 9 minutes, Frank wrote. The teen was arrested for obstructing with force and domestic assault. ABC News reported he began bleeding from his ears during the alleged violent arrest, ultimately needing stitches, Frank wrote. Okay. As was true with the conduct with George Floyd, Chauvin quickly escalated the use of force for a relatively minor offense. Frank continued in the court papers. Just like Floyd, Chauvin used unreasonable amount of force without regard for the need for that level of force or the victim's well-being. Just like Floyd, when the child was slow to comply with Chauvin and the other officer's instruction, Chauvin grabbed the child by the throat and forced him to the ground in a prone position and placed a knee on the child's neck. The child began to cry out in pain and tell Chauvin he could not breathe. A spokesperson for the DOJ, Minnesota Attorney General Office, and the police department did not respond to Fox News request seeking comment on Friday. So, really, at the end of the day, they knew what Chauvin was doing out there in public, and they chose to ignore it. So I say it's the prosecutor's fault. You know, Amy Klobuchar was actually the prosecutor when Chauvin was involved in another killing of a Black man. She did not prosecute one police officer. Never forget that about her. You know, I did a live stream on her and her track record with police. She was there part of that time when Chauvin was a cop, and those complaints were coming in about Chauvin, and she did absolutely nothing. She did nothing. And then you have the different police chiefs that were there during the time he was an officer, and all those complaints came in about him choking people. They did absolutely nothing and took the complaints and threw them away. So they were fully aware of this man's behavior, and they let this psychotic stay out there, unleashed him on the public, and he caused a lot of hurt and pain on the citizens in Minnesota. And it is 100% the fault of these police unions, prosecutors, these DAs, and even the judges that were involved in cases, and they always let this man go. And of course, the police chief. They had to know. There's no way they didn't know. But see, with George Floyd, he went overboard. And that's how he got caught finally. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this case possibly being reopened from 2017, where he choked out a 14-year-old and he stayed on him for 17 minutes. And the boy was also crying and pleading that he couldn't breathe. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.